story continues in the manner of the previous episode. Jin Mu-Won and Moon Jung became immediately fast asleep after eating the meal the inn attendant served them, not knowing that the attendant had added a daydreaming pill to the food given to them. The attendant came in and was glad to see them fast asleep. He counted Moon Jung as nothing because he is after Jin. He observed him closely to know more about him, such as his age, martial skills, social status, and so on, but he couldn't find any information about him, so he wondered who Jin could be. Later on, the person spotted Jin's blade sparkling with some sort of energy. Jin was alerted, and he woke up thinking about what happened to him. He saw the man holding his blade, but the man was already passed by the aura of the snowflower coming out from the blade. Jin was alerted after the man was holding his blade. He then deduced that the perpetrator has the same QI as the tavern owner, which means he is using transformation art. Jin pondered in his mind that moment about a lot of things. He was not able to tell a transformation art with his QI sense alone. Also, he didn't detect the sleeping pill placed in their food. Then he realized that the man is indeed a martial arts master. In curiosity, Jin questioned the man about his identity. His name is Chung In, a member of the Black Moon from a secret organization called the Hidden Moon, an organization based on infiltrating and gathering information. He's also from the highest division, the Heaven's Rank. Chung stated that Mei Wo Ryung, the Sacheon branch leader, ordered him to observe and gather information concerning Jin. Jin noticed that the man was answering the question quickly and sharply because of the influence of the bewitched QI. Chung's eyes and all parts of his body are under the influence of the QI. They are filled with the aura and in purple color. Jin used this opportunity to get some intel from Chung and asked him about the Gonmyeong City incident. Chung explained that some crazed people lost their mind, and they were much stronger than average humans. They didn't recognize any relatives while ripping things and humans apart. After this, Jin stripped the blade from him, and Chung fell to the ground and began to wonder what's wrong with him. Jin revealed his identity to him and requested for a talk. Chung draws his blade immediately and threatens to take Jin's life and his own, because there's no way he can escape death since the Black Moon secret leaked out from his mouth to an outsider. Chung attacked Jin with several attacks, but he dodged them effortlessly. Jin hit Chung a few times and knocked him out. After some time, Moon Jung woke up due to the effects of the daydreaming pill wearing off. He asked about what happened, seeing Chung beaten up with blood dripping from his face. Chung requested that Jin should kill him because of the condition he is in, but Jin declined, saying that he does not need to, as he now has information on the Black Moon. Jin requested information on who the mastermind is in regards to the missing people of Unnam. He offered Chung alliance, so they can get information from each other. The man who went insane was held captive at General Lim's place. He was shown to Elder Tang. The insane man's identity shows that he is an informant for the Iron Brigade. The symptoms of the crazy man look similar to rabies. Elder Tang asked General Lim to put him to sleep, but all the sedatives they've been using on him seem not to have any effect. Then, Elder Tang makes use of a poison extracted from the blood roots in the southern islands. It reduces bloodlust and also slows down the brain. The madman fell asleep immediately, and Elder Tang began to use his poison arts. He determines that it's not an animal-based poison. He explained the 3 poison-based categories: the plant-based, animal-based, and mineral-based poison. As soon as Elder Tang used a mineral-based poison detector, the man reacted to it and attacked the Elder Tang, but he was rescued by Mai Ryo. General Im subdues the insane man, and Elder Tang explains that mineral-based poison drains life out of the affected person and causes them to slow death. Suddenly, the insane man dies while being held by the general. General Im promises to know the depths of the situation, while Elder Tang warns against something big happening. Jin, Moon Jung, and Chung went straight to the market square and noticed that it was empty. Chung was complaining internally about his situation. The branch leader had already told him that he is not an ordinary man, and that's exactly what he experienced. Moon Jung mocks Chung, and Chung changes his body and face transformation art to showcase his abilities. Jin was able to recognize his first transformation, and that made him know who Chung is, no matter how he transformed. Chung placed all the blame on Jin's blade, Snowflower. Jin ponders that Chung is not someone of weak mental strength, yet the bewitched blade possessed him. He also noticed that since their return from the province of Unnam, the bewitched blade has been restless, and the QI has gotten more stronger. The material of the blade was from a rock that fell from the sky in the province of Unnam. After the falling of the rock, a certain tribe worshipped it as a sacred object, but the tribe was massacred, so the rock belongs to no one. Jin decided to make some time to visit the place where the tribe used to be. Jin needs to be careful because of the blade, as its QI is getting stronger, and Jin may not be able to handle it. After going round the market for some hours, Jin stopped at a blade vendor place to observe some blades. Chung condemned him, thinking he doesn't know anything about blade, but Moonjung told him that Jin learned about blacksmithing when he was young, and he was able to forge his own blade himself. Chung was shocked and confused about Jin's personality. Jin tried to buy a sword from the vendor, but it was too expensive as the vendor tried to sell it for 5 pieces. Jin declined, and the vendor asked him to leave if he found it too expensive. Jin then took his leave, but the vendor begged him to buy it in 2 silver pieces. Jin accepted, but with the condition to buy it in 6 silver pieces, so the vendor could tell him where he got his sword from. The vendor became attracted to the money. Then he revealed that months ago, when the black market opened up, a lot of exceptional weapons became available to the public. He also said that a lot of vendors in Jade City got their product from the black market. Jin paid the man since Chung has signified that he knows where black market is located. Chung, holding the blade that Jin bought from the vendor, noticed that it's not common in the province of Unnam. Jin chimed in and said that it's definitely out of the city, which is most likely forged in the mainland, the northern part in the province of Honam. He sees that all the vendors' products in that particular market are from the mainland. He knows that entering into the province of Unnam is quite hard, so for foreign weapons to be in that market is suspicious, and it calls for investigation. Moonjung was furious because he didn't understand what the discussion was all about. Then Chung summarized it all to him, that the weapons belonged to the bodyguard and merchants that went missing. So that means those responsible for the people's demise might have sold it to the black market. Chung recognized Jin's strength and intuition. Jin then led the group towards the black market. At the black market, the merchants in charge announced the available weapons to everyone. Suddenly, a strange man with a hooded robe stepped forward to question them of how they got the weapons. After the strange man told the leader of the merchants that he knew how they got the weapons. The leader ordered his men to kill everyone present and run. After some buyers were killed, the robed man introduced himself and claimed that he is from the investigative bureau of the Broken Fists sect. The robed man had his men surround the black market merchants and their leader. Then the robed man palm striked the merchant leader and requested him to give up all the information. The robed man then ordered his men to kill everyone and capture the merchant leader. Elsewhere, an old man and a maid are fighting amongst others. It's a fight where civilians can't be recognized apart from real soldiers. Pyong, the leader of the oracles, recalls when his lord gave him an order to find out who infiltrated Unnam before the Central Heavenly Alliance arrived at their territory. The territory was earned when they betrayed the Northern Heavenly Sect, and the Central Heavenly Alliance is about to invade it. Pyong pledges to do his best to secure the territory at every cost, even if it has to bring down the existence of Jade City. Long after the massacre, Jin, Chung, and Moonjung arrive at the black market and are met with dead bodies. Jin observes that the dead are from the Crimson Ghosts, but later he sees that civilians too were involved. Jin then randomly dashed in a direction while Chung and Moonjung struggled to follow behind. Elsewhere, General Im was alone, pondering about the change of his lord. The actions of his lord have been suspicious since his lord settled in the province of Unnam. Im was not sure about his future with the Broken Fist sect. As he was busy thinking, one of his servants rushed in to inform him about some unknown martial artists wreaking havoc in Jade City. The general, surprised, stood up immediately to interfere and requested that the lives of the Tang family be secured at all costs. He attacked one of the assailants with a special move called the Eight Fists of the Gods. The general grabbed the man he attacked with the aim to know his identity and who sent them, but he was shocked because he recognized the person. He's an elder named Jong-O from the oracles. Jong told the general that the massacre was ordered by their lord, which shocked him. Jong then told General Im that the enemies were also disguised as the people of Jade City. Jong-O also explained the incident at the black market to General Im, and that the Lord ordered them to kill anyone spotted in Jade City to protect the Broken Fists sect. General Im deduced that Qian-Wu happens to be the one in control. Elsewhere, the slaughter of civilians continued until a man with a spear nom intervened. The man with the spear turns out to be Nam Gun-Wei. Nam Gun recalled how Dan Yeop told him to cause some disruption and began his attack. Jin Mu and Co. dashed through the black market until they came across 3 men who belonged to the oracles. Chung immediately tries to whisper to Jin and tells him they were from the informative bureau of the Broken Fists sect and what the sect is known for. The 3 men began to attack Jin. Jin recognized the attack, the Fist of 100 Days. This move was an intensive fist technique that caused the possessor hand to become scaly, harder, and made the skin appear white. Jin gets mad at Uncle Joe after killing mere civilians and using his loyal subordinates as tools. Jin then draws out his sword and releases a powerful shockwave. With just one move, Jin kills the men and shocked Moon Jung as he witnessed 3 bodies completely disappear. Chung witnessed the power and aura of Jin. With the sword is super, but the fact is about his mood, and the aura he gives off is completely different from a normal swordsman. Moon Jung became frightened as he never saw Jin never kill anyone before, and questions what happened between Jin and the Broken Fists sect. More of the Oracle soldiers arrived and attacked Jin. Jin easily killed them without any hesitation. Chung guessed that Moon Jung had never seen this angry side of Jin before, so he advised him to follow Jin from a distance. Chung called on his pets to follow and watch over Jin. General Im from a distance felt the strange QI and arrived to see an oracle about to kill a civilian. Mak Guang, one of the messengers sent to wreak havoc. He was busy tutoring a civilian, then killed her in front of the general. Guang then lectures General Im about his morality and his past action of betraying Jin Kwan-Ho. Guang also revealed that he is thorn in the side of their lord. Then, General Im was suddenly surrounded by more oracle soldiers. General Im realized that he was a tool to Zhou Qian-Wu, and that Zhou Qian-Wu ordered the death of him. Pyong and the robed man who was at the black market were discussing the plan by the Broken Fist sect to take over the mountain before the Central Heavenly Alliance arrived to conquer that spot. They also discovered who has been causing the appearance of madmen, and if they act as saviors by subduing the madmen and rescuing merchants, then nobody would be able to defy the Broken Fists sect. Back at the battlefield, Jin found a tired General Im with his arms ripped out behind a large rock, surrounded by dead oracle soldiers. Jin approached him, and the general asked about his identity. The general was relieved to see Jin alive. General Im apologized for everything he did to Jin and his father, and called himself as a coward. He also begged Jin to stop the destruction Qian-Wu is planning. After this request, he died, and Jin gets angry. We then see a beat-up man running from the oracles, because the Crimson Ghosts have been decimated. While running, he enters a tunnel and expresses that Namgun WI will be at a disadvantage. The beat-up man informs his boss that the Broken Fist sect know their location and asks for orders. The leader in charge happens to be the only one who can awaken the Silent Night, but expressed to the beat-up man that the Silent Night lost its strength. The leader decides not to run and to fight back. Pyong and his robed companion went into the mountain with some guards where the remaining members of the Crimson Ghosts were. They saw that the missing merchants and bodyguards were caged up and turned into crazed madmen. Pyong ordered his men to pick up the pace and look for the leader before the Central Heavenly Alliance arrived. They then arrived to see a man who is the leader, sitting on a tall rock. Pyong questions the leader, asking if he is behind the madmen, and they both have a chat about the Unam territory. Pyong got angry and threatened to kill the leader and surrender, but the leader had devised a plan. The leader then decided to awaken the Silent Night and seal his fate. The leader looked over to his subordinate and commanded him to release the madmen. The madmen now surrounded the oracles and planned to eat them. Pyong's companion realized that some of the madmen were from the great merchant families, but Pyong commanded his men to kill all the madmen, as it is killed or be killed. The madmen and Pyong's forces charged at each other, and it turned into a battlefield. Suddenly, the leader's subordinate had a sword pierced through him, revealing that it was Jin Mu who killed him. The leader noticed that Jin had a different aura to him. The oracles and the madmen stopped fighting to look at an angry Jin Mu who told everyone, "Don't fucking move." The soldiers asked a question but instantly got killed by Jin. The vice captain of the oracles tried to fight Jin, but Jin cut his arms off in an instant. Pyong's companion starts yelling at Jin and powers up to fight him, but Jin cuts his head off instantly. He then declares that he will kill everyone instantly. Everyone was shocked how Jin easily killed Captain Yule, who was Pyong's companion. Pyong became more unsettled and he thought within himself that Jin might have been a part of the groups they destroyed in their quest to take over the province of Unam. To intimidate Jin, Pyong tells Jin that they are Zhou Qianwu's Broken Fist sect. Jin questions the attack on Jade City. He talks about the people who died in the city. Pyong then remembers that he felt like he saw Jin before and tried to shift the blame of the Jade City events onto the leader of the madmen. The leader and Jin talk, and the leader claims he has a reason for what he is doing, and only the ones who survive are able to justify their cause. After some more dialogue, Goon Wee arrived at the scene and revealed the name of the leader, Dan Yup. Goon Wee greeted Jin and expressed that they had a debt to settle. Goon Wee took his stance, but Jin was not paying attention to him. Taking this chance, he thrusted his spear at Jin, but he dodged it effortlessly. Goon Wee continues his attacks, but he can't seem to hit Jin. While fighting, Jin said that he was here for his uncle. Suddenly, Goon Wee grabbed Jin's leg, threw him, and launched another attack. While they were fighting, Dan Yup showed up behind Pyong and told him that their organization was Silent Night. Afterwards, Dan Yup brought out his musical weapon and played it, which proceeded to kill Pyong and his associates. Jin noticed and deduced that Dan was using sound arts. The sounds impact Jin as well, so he tries to protect himself by using 1,000 shadows to cover his meridians, but Goon Wee would not let him. Jin then observed that Goon Wee was not impacted by the sound arts. Dan Yup then appears next to Goon Wee, unleashing his sound arts against Jin Mu. Goon Wee comes from the side and tries to attack Jin, but Jin was able to dodge both attacks. Goon Wee charged again, and Jin unleashed his technique, Shadow Blade of the End, 5th Ceremony, Dance of Blood. Jin was able to defeat Goon Wee and turned his attention to Dan Yup. As they charge each other, a hand grabs Dan Yup's robe. Revealing it to be Pyong, Jin Mu takes this chance and tries to kill Dan, but Goon Wee steps in to take the hit, wounding him even worse. As soon as Goon Wee blood was shed by Jin with his blade, Dan Yup became enraged and played his instrument with force to attack Jin, breaking the strings in the process. Dan then immediately attended to Goon Wee, who told him to smile with his last dying breath. A slightly wounded Jin appeared from the smoke and questioned Dan about his purpose for turning people into madmen. Dan said he did all that to send a warning. Dan then questioned the blade Jin is holding, which was Gathering of 10,000 Shadows. Dan then said that when a fighter witnesses an attack used by the Gathering of 10,000 Shadows, it will look as if some strange darkness had slowly enveloped the fighter, and its spirit will slowly feel like it's being torn to pieces, and it will be difficult to move. Dan Yup had the same stated experiences. They both then revealed their identity, Jin being the descendant of the North Wall who died 10 years ago to that moment, while Dan is the descendant of the 1,000 Sounds of Death. Dan draws out a flute from and begins to play a sound with it to start his next attack, while Jin was also charging up his attack, asking Dan where the captives were. While fighting, Dan tries to empathize with Jin and is concerned about their existence. and there will be no record of their generation of kingdom again if they are wiped out. Jin was shocked to hear another reason for all his actions and asked if the four lords of the Silent Night were still alive. Dan tells Jin that they are still alive while attacking. Jin assumes that Hasiol is still safe. Dan then rudely apologizes to Jin in case his uncle turned out to be among those mad men. Dan then unleashes his killer move, destructing sound of the falling end. Jin jumped in the air to dodge the attack and asked to know where Dan was holding the captives. Jin lunged at Dan and hit him with an attack that wounded him badly. Jin tells Dan that the reason for the formation of the Northern Heavenly Sect was because the Silent Night attacked the mainland first. Jin questioned Dan Yup, asking why the Silent Night has to go that far and killing innocent people to send a warning. Dan tells Jin that he is no different and that his plan has yet to come to an end. Dan tried to play a sound to attack Jin, but Jin broke it into several pieces. Standing back to back, Jin tells Dan he will never forgive him, unleashes a fast technique and sheaths his sword, only to see Dan dropping while covered with blood. After several cuts on his body, Dan stood up slowly and tried to punch Jin in the face, only to be dropped by Jin instantly. Dan thinks Jin is trying to pity him and reveals that the ultimate goal of his plan was his death. He hopes that with his death, Silent Night will awaken. He thanked Jin for causing his death and told him to go to the Sorrowful Mountain as the captives were there. After apologizing about Jin's uncle, Dan died. Then, Jin coughs up blood as he has consumed too much internal force in the fight. In that moment, he brought out a medicinal pill given to him by his master, called Crimson Silvered Sacred Pills. Suddenly, a shadowy figure holding a spear appeared behind Jin. Jin realized that if he moved, he would be killed. Jin noticed that he was wearing a black cloak and had a silver spear, which had the seal of the ghosts engraved on it. The figure's eyes contain a pale glow and can easily strike fear into whoever gazed into it. Jin then saw that it was the one of the four demonic lords, the Spear of the Black Wings. Jin knew that he couldn't take on the figure who is also known as the Ghost Spear. The Ghost Spear walked over to Dan and picked him up, expressing his hope for him. While holding Dan, the Ghost Spear looked at Jin and revealed that he knew who Jin was, the mortal enemy of the Silent Night. The Ghost Spear told Jin that he will have to look for a new source of light, then pulled out his spear and attacked Jin. Jin dodged the attack, but the Ghost Spear followed up and pierced Jin's chest. Jin was shocked to see that he was unhurt from the attack due to a jade necklace that he wore blocking the attack. Jin then stood up to prepare for battle. Chung felt the heavy aura of the Ghost Spear and withstood it, while Munjung succumbed to it. He then realized that it may be the start of a conquest due to the reappearance of the Northern Heavenly Sect and the Silent Night. In the valiant Blue Moon branch, we see Elder Tang and his companion test the poison of the dead madman. Elder Tang believes that the poison is a type of poison that is formed from light substances, and that finding the correct antidote will take some time. The Central Heavenly Alliance arrived and introduced themselves to Elder Tang. They were from the Investigative Bureau. Juk Mu gives Elder Tang a letter from Quan De Sung. Juk Mu tells Elder Tang that the situation regarding the investigation of the madmen is now under his control and orders Elder Tang to go home. Juk Mu tells Elder Tang the situation of what has been happening in Unam. Elder Tang became so angry after knowing that the Central Heavenly Alliance was using them as bait, but Juk Mu pleaded to them and thanked them for being their shadow, because if not for the presence of Elder Tang, the Broken Fist sect would have discovered that the Central Heavenly Alliance was present. Juk Mu told Elder Tang to hand over all his research appliances and threatened Elder Tang. Elsewhere, Ghost Spear charges an attack towards Jin Mu. He stretched his spear towards the air, creating an image, and unleashed it towards Jin, destroying everything in his path. Jin took his sword out and sliced the attack in half. Suddenly, Ghost Spear appeared on the side and used a powerful attack, creating the image of death. Jin tried to block it but was sent flying. He looked up to see Ghost Spear above him trying to attack, but Jin charged up a move using his aura. Not letting Jin get the upper hand, Ghost Spear lunged at him and they both cause a massive shockwave. Jin, not being able to withstand it, passed out, and we see Ghost Spear give him a warning before disappearing. After some time, Jin woke up. Jin woke up in a hospital bed, reminiscing about the battle. Jin just hopes that Yoon Ha-seol is safe. Jin pondered on how resentment creates more resentment, and that he ended up taking more lives, wondering if that will be his fate. Jin snaps out of it and realizes that he has to find Mr. Huang in the Cave of Despair. Later, Jin discovers that he is not alone in the room. A lady asks about his well-being and tells him how he got there, but Jin's reaction speaks of something else. Jin, seeing through the lady's tricks, knew that it was Chung-in. We then see the aftermath of the battle with the Ghost Spear. Chung explained the whole incident to Jin, and he was appreciative. Chung claims that the information previously gathered about Jin is useless, and that he needs to start another investigation. Chung then deduced that someone might be secretly supporting Jin. Chung thought he knew that the existence of Jin Mu-Won would have spread around due to the incident in Jade City caused by the Broken Fists sect and Silent Night. Chung thought of reporting the case to the Lord Black Moon directly, but till then he needs to stick with Jin and secretly gather information about him. Another thought struck Chung's mind, the reappearance of the Silent Night. Munjung then barged in to give Jin his coat. Elsewhere, a messenger hawk flies throughout the Central Heavenly Alliance to deliver a letter to a man with 2 swords. The letter is from Jok Mu. He reported the whole Jade City incident and how a single man battled Silent Night and the Broken Fists sect and won. We see the man take off his hat, knowing that the Northern Blade returned, revealing himself to be So Musang. We see Ghost Spear walking while carrying a deceased Dan. It turns out that Ghost Spear was badly wounded and recalls the attack that Jin Mu landed on him during their battle. We see Jin Mu and his group reunite with Yong Musang. Yong Musang told him that his name is now spread through the land. Chung was shocked to see how fast the news had spread. If an infamous mercenary group, the Iron Brigade, could have heard about it, then it would surely reach the Central Heavenly Alliance. Jin and Yong Musang exchange pleasantries. Yong tells Jin that he was not able to get what he wanted due to the arrival of the Central Heavenly Alliance. Chung realizes that Yong switched sides because he wants to use Jin. Elsewhere, the Broken Fists sect leader holds a member of the Central Heavenly Alliance. Hodong addresses the sect leader, Jo Cheon-woo, and tells him to stay put while the incident in Jade City is being cleaned up. Joe expressed his frustration as the influence he built up in Jade City has now vanished. Joe asked Heodong on what the Central Heavenly Alliance wants him to do to resolve issues. Heodong advised him to shut down the sect for the meantime. Heodong tells him that he will have another chance to stop the advancement of the Silent Night. We then see that Joe's son was listening in to their conversation. Heodong also advises Joe to send his son to the Central Heavenly Alliance. Their plan to defeat the Silent Night is to gather young and talented martial artists to form a group named the Conquerors. Heodong said the members would be filled with imaginable powers and that they will be an army of young heroes. Joe, seething with anger, doesn't want to give up and wants to look into the man who disrupted the events of Jade City. Jin and his companions leave with the Iron Brigade following behind them. Jin questions the leader, and he claims that they are not following them, and that they are going the same route. A member of the Iron Brigade expressed that they only have Jin to rely on as their business with the Broken Fist sect was nullified. Yong proposed that they help each other out. Jin accepted their help, and they headed towards the Sorrowful Mountain. Yong then turned his attention to the lady at the back of the group, not knowing Chung. Chung then revealed that he was a man to stop Yong's advances. Seo Musang receives a message that his reports were delivered to the Central Administrative Bureau and that the Broken Fist sect sealed their gates. He recalls how he was being tortured 7 years ago regarding the death of Jin Mu-Won. Seo hardens his conviction to endure until his lord returns. He became a low-ranking warrior in the Xingning branch, training relentlessly for 3 years straight. He then became the branch leader's right-hand man. He then volunteered to work for the Central Heavenly Alliance. CO was able to gain their trust and attain the leadership of the Special Intelligence Division. Back to the present, CO decides to remain in his position until the time is right. We then see Jin Mu and gang arrive at the Sorrowful Mountains, Valley of Despair.